Hey guys, welcome. I am here live. Let me be still because we are here on YouTube. How are you guys doing? I'm Dee Williams, and I help professionals just like you start and scale your very own niche recruitment and staffing business. I'm going to take a moment and let everybody kind of come in, get in to the room. I'm officially back in Atlanta, which I'm really excited about. I've been on the West Coast since the second week of December and just getting back into Atlanta yesterday. So I decided, I definitely want, now that I'm back in my own element, want to go live, a lot more. But I've had so many conversations, so many questions about the state of staffing and the industry right now going through this pandemic, while we're going through this pandemic and things that are going on. And I want to address it. I want to talk about it. And I'm glad you all are here. I sent out an email to about 6,000 people, like, meet me here. Some people are actually probably live watching the president right now. And so, we'll get into that in a moment, into what he's been speaking about recently in regards to the changes that are going to take place. But I want to literally sit in here and talk to you, especially address some of the concerns that people are having about their staffing business. Some staffing businesses are doing amazing, actually thriving out of control during this time, believe it or not. And some of them are hurting and struggling. And so I want to talk about that. Before I do that, if you can let me know who you are and why you're, what your niche is and where you're located in the chat box, that'll be great, so that I can say hey and answer any questions that you all may have. This is going to be a short live. I'll be going live a lot over the next couple of weeks. So we'll have a lot of fun to talk about this. But I want to dive in a little bit, just kind of like in this, just kind of talk about where things are. So we have had, hey, Talisha from NC. It's nice to see you. Thanks for being here and chiming in live. So we have had, when I looked last, the unemployment rate was pretty intense, right? I think we're almost at about a 30% unemployment rate here in the United States, which is very different than from what we had, even during the recession of 2008. So we're in a weird space right now. I've heard a lot of people have either lost their jobs. I think we have a million people who have been displaced within their career based on this this pandemic, and it's really intense. Now we also have some industries that are thriving through this. So the marijuana, the CBD, the recreational and medicinal cannabis market is booming in a way that I can't even tell you right now. They consider that market an essential business. So they are having a hard time keeping stock. They're having a hard time having enough drivers to deliver the medicine to their users. I mean, a really, 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 really big upkick and needing staffing help in the cannabis space. You all know in the healthcare space right now, big pickup, right? Because we need people to help with, servicing people with the virus and different things like that. Now the home health industry is being hit, right? From a staffing perspective, it's being hit a little bit harder. So every industry is different. Ramona, I want to talk to you about your niche. Oh, no, not Ramona. Talisha, I want to talk to you about your niche when we get a chance, if we have time. So there are industries that are going back and forth, and, and so we want to be there to support. I sent out an email this morning to everyone. If you're not on my list, please, most people get on my list by going to a recruitmentstore.com or D Williams, my website, or Staffingpreneurs Academy. But I want you to get on my list. If you're not on there, I send an email out almost every day, at least 2 or 3 times a week. And I sent an email out with tons and tons and tons of resources for you if you have been affected by this pandemic. I don't want to say the name because I heard they like shutting people's channels down by saying the name. So I'm not going to say the name. I'll say the pandemic, right? So there are tons of resources. I'll also put up a page on the Staffingpreneurs Academy website, a blog page with all the resources there as well, so that you guys can take advantage of that. Facebook is giving out a grant. The Small Business Association is giving out a grant. Like, there are lots of places that are giving money out to help businesses stay afloat until this is all over. Now, at 6 o'clock, I want to say, President Trump went live, and he stated that he's going to start lifting the restrictions for the places in the country that are not as affected as some of the other places. Like, I believe New York is going to continue to stay shut down because they have one of the highest concentrations of the virus. But he's mentioning that he will allow over the next 15 days, after the next 15 days, he's going to start lightening up the load, of everything being locked down, and to start bringing the economy back to where it was before. So let's pray for that, right? And I actually believe that's going to happen. Like, I'm a huge conspiracy theorist, so I've had to really work so hard not to be on YouTube watching all the conspiracy theories. I've definitely been sharing some when I see them, but my goal has been, and my hope and my thoughts and my prayers is just something majorly as a country. After that, we tend to just outdo ourselves, right? We tend to come back into things where things get better. Think of like how things happened after 9/11 and how connected we were as a country. I just feel like we're going to come back. And so I have 2 things, and I'm going to talk about this also in another video on my other YouTube channel as well later this week. But like, where are you in this process? If you are, I had some people even taking my coaching program and like, D, I'm bailing out. I'm like, why would you bail out during this time? It is not going to like last. You know what I'm saying? And if it's not going to last, then what are you going to do once everything picks back up? And that's kind of where I want you all to be thinking about. I want you all to be thinking about that. Like, it's so easy to get caught up in social media, in the news. It's even easier to get caught up in like the fear of things. And right now there's so much uncertainty, and the fear of unknown is like, oh my God, I've got to hold on to this, or oh my God, I can't do that, or oh my God. And it's like, I don't really understand, because if you like, well, I'm going to say how I feel. This is going to offend some of you, but whatever. Many of you say that you are like spiritual people. Like, I don't understand how everybody can say I'm spiritual, or I'm Christian, or I'm Buddhist, or I'm whatever. And then the moment something crazy happens, you lose all sense of faith, all sense of knowing, right? So I want you to be in your sense of faith and in your sense of knowing, know that everything's going to work out. So we have to talk about what we need to do now, right now, to prepare for what's going to happen. Because you all know, as some people are losing their jobs, some companies are using this as an opportunity to get rid of the dead weight, the people who aren't necessarily contributing to the organization in the way that they want. That's terrible, but I do believe that's happening in a lot of instances. But on the flip side of that is that they're about to start hiring again like crazy. And my question to you is, are you ready? That is the big question. Like, are you ready? 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 Put a like this video, right? Because I want to get you guys in the right mindset too, because, I kind of like to hear myself talk sometimes. Anyway, what are we going to do? So we got to get fired up right now. We've got to start thinking about how we're going to support the United States, our economy at this point, right? So if you're on this channel, you're in a couple of places watching this video. You either have an idea. You're like, D, I had this idea. I want to start a staffing business. I had this idea before, or since this pandemic has come along, this idea has just gotten here. I have an idea. or you're in a place where you've had this idea and you started implementing this idea, but you haven't done anything with the idea, right? So most people call me and they're like, I legalized my business. I have this idea, I legalized my business, be established, generating revenue. And you're trying to figure out, like, how do I take my business to the next level? How do I increase sales? How do I have a more sharper quality pipeline of talent? How do I direct my efforts in a way that's going to result in an ROI in a more immediate manner than later? Like, so you might be in that place as well. It doesn't matter where you are in your business. The same question applies, which is, what are you going to do now that we are here? Because we're about to go back into it. Like, think about 2 months ago in the economy, better. That's where we're going. And our job as staffingpreneurs, these companies with great talent. So what are you doing about that in your niche recruitment and staffing business? And how are you committed? What type of commitment are you making to your economy, through your staffing business? If you're already established, you want to keep the doors open. This is a great time to reach out to your customers and to just make, especially if it's slow, you want to reach out to them and just say, I'm checking on you. I'm just reaching out, checking on you just to see how things are going. I single-handedly helped this company generate $4.3 million in revenue in 1 year just by having them go back to their past customers that they hadn't talked to for a year and over. Understand? Literally re-sparked that relationship with those past customers and brought them in revenue that they didn't even realize that they had just by doing one small thing. How are you doing? How are you holding up in these times? What's going on with your staff? What's going on? Have you guys shut the doors? Are you guys working remotely? Have you downsized? Or like, once this blows over, do you have any plans? Hey, Ronaldo, it's good to see you. So like, literally, like, this is the time to start reaching out to companies and to find out what's going on with them. They will converse with you right now, right? Because things are crazy. So that's if you're already established. But if you're brand new and you're like legalized and you're trying to get to that point, you're trying to become a part of the solution right now. You want to get in on the ground floor. Your niche may be helping manufacturing companies. I've got a client in Tennessee. Y'all see me put his testimonials on my channel, Hollis. I know he's probably rocking it out over there because he kind of focuses on. I have another client in Ohio who does day staffing. Even though in some cities, y'all know I drove from California back to Atlanta. So I got to see like the entire country from Los Angeles to Alpharetta, Georgia. And some places, the day I left LA was the day they said they were going to lock the city down for 3 weeks. I was like, oh, hell no, I ain't about to be locked down in LA for 3 weeks, right? So I just like told my daughter, I was like, let's get everything in the car. We're going to go home and just kind of ride the wave and then we'll come back out there. So interesting enough, we got in the car and we started riding. And we rode that night for a little bit, and then we got up early the next morning and kept driving. And so I've been able to kind of go through the entire country. And in the bigger cities, things are definitely shut down. And the smaller city, okay, we've got to get ready because this thing is it's going to be bigger and better. You've got to be prepared. So if you're in the place where you're just starting, you have this idea. I'm not selling anything on this video. What I would say is go and get resources to get launched right now. I'm not selling anything. I just want you all to know your position in the state of this economy and what you should be doing right now. That is my goal. I need you to know what your role is as staffingpreneurs in this economy during this time right now. And your goal is to be supporting the economy. Your goal is to support your clients. Your goal is to support your candidates. And more importantly, your goal is to connect, right? To connect and to be ready for when everything goes back to normal. And the idea of normal is also going to be different. Okay. listen, if you're loving what I'm saying, like this video. If you're first time here, hey, please subscribe. I have to remember to say that. That's not kind of my thing, but I definitely want to remember to say space should be booming right now in a way that you can't even tell, right? So anybody dealing with any type of addiction is probably losing their mind at this moment. The mental health space is probably being hit like crazy. I was at a, you all know I own like going in there. So anyway, I was at a dispensary in LA, and I'm standing there, and the lady, I'm talking to the owner, and the lady pulls up and walks up, and she goes, not D, but she was talking to us, and she's like, I had a doctor's appointment today, and the doctor told me don't come in. He told me to give him a couple of hours. He's going to do my doctor's appointment via the internet. And she was pissed. She was like, via the internet? How are you going to diagnose me via the internet, right? Little short lady. And I thought, oh my gosh, that's crazy. And so that's another thing. I feel like, we're in a space also where telehealth is really big, and it's going to continue to expand as this takes place. So we have a lot of different things going on. Finally, last thing I'll say, and then I'll let you all go, is if you're just starting with this idea and you're looking to start a niche recruitment and staffing business, that is the smartest thing you could do right now. Literally. That is the smartest decision you can make for you, your community, your legacy. It's the smartest thing you can do right now, because the economy is just going to get better and better. We just had a small hiccup that was unforeseen by just about everybody in the world other than maybe a few people, right? So now is the time. I want you guys to understand that the recruiting and staffing industry was not affected at the level that the airline industry, the restaurant, like we didn't go to the bottom, and even more demand. So understand the leverage that you have owning your very own staffing, niche recruitment and staffing business. You just got to understand the first thing that people do is they immediately buy into fear, and then they go in and say, I can't do this. I can't deal with it. I have 3 people literally have called me and was like, D, I can't do this. And I'm thinking, you're doing the opposite of what you should be doing. Right now, you should be on your effing hustle and grind, trying to bring this thing to life so that you can be that resource, that support that everyone needs. You don't say no. And y'all know how I know this. If you've been on my channel before, you've been following me, y'all know when I owned my staffing business 2 times before, right? Before I was affected by the 2008 recession. And I was one of those people that was like, oh no, everything's going to fall apart. And I followed that train and allowed my business to crash instead of keeping it going. Thank God I got my stuff together over time and fixed that thought process and that mentality. And I'm still here as an entrepreneur, but I made that mistake before. I made that mistake before. So the thing is that we have to not feed into the BS. We can't feed into the fear. We have to know that the idea that was given to you by your energy, by your higher power, was given to you because it was meant for you, right? Period. It was meant for you. And so what do you do with it? You don't just get rid of it. You don't just get rid of it just because things look hard or things don't look great or things don't feel good. No, you have to figure out, how do I take this challenge, this circumstance, and turn it into something that will benefit everyone? You have to look at it and say, okay, when this is all over, what will the state be of the recruiting and staffing industry then, right? Sometimes it's not great now, but that doesn't mean that it won't be great in a month. Are you going to wait until it's great to try to benefit? No, you do it now. You get in now. You get prepared now. You start building your blocks now. If you've been having trouble finding clients, what better time to get on the phone than now right? Okay, my client's saying, come on, D, what better time to get on the phone than relationship now, so that as things go back to normal, you will be able to have some leverage there based on the conversations that you built throughout this process. And everyone is open right now. Hearts are big, wide open. People are giving. If you ask somebody for help right now, they'll probably give you their left arm and their right pinky toe. No, seriously. Everybody is like full of love, right? So get into that groove. Kiana says she's working on an email campaign right now. That's what you should be working on. Your email list, your lead magnet, your automation on the back end of your ATS. We're going to do a live training on that. Getting your ATS set up. We just did one. Just generating leads. That's where you should be. You should be connecting, building relationships, and generating leads. So to conclude, my fellow staffingpreneurs, you're in the right space. And if you're watching this video, you're watching the right video, okay? And so know that don't give up. Don't give up. That's like whenever there's a recession or something bad happens, the people who give up are the people who actually fail. The people who stick in it and stay in it for the long haul are the people who actually, it's crazy. They're the ones that literally are when it's all over, they're at the top. I want to see you all at the top. She took the words out of my mouth. I want to see you all at the top. Okay, really, 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 really quickly. I know this is not a training call, but I wanted to talk to Tralisha. Are you still here, Tralisha? Because I wanted to talk to you about your niche. If you're still here, put something in the box so I know you're still here. I hope y'all don't mind. This is probably not the right video to do this. Okay, she is here. Okay, Tralisha, I hope I'm saying your name properly. First of all, thank you so much for being here. I just being the person that I am, I feel like I want to tell you something about your niche. But before I do that, I have to ask you some questions. So have you already started your agency and you're generating revenue in your niche recruitment and staffing business? Or are you just coming with the idea of starting your niche recruitment and staffing business? So while she's, no, which part? No revenue just yet? If it's no revenue, I would encourage you to, I would say the administrative assistant niche is probably not one of the better niches to get into if you want sustainability for your business. And let me explain why. That's not to say that, I guess I shouldn't have said you shouldn't do it. What I would say is if you're going to do administrative assistance, please be prepared to add an additional niche onto that. And maybe if not now, in the near future, because administrative assistance is one of those niche markets that is going to ultimately, they're predicting in the next 5 to 7 years that AI will be the next administrative assistant, that AI is taking that role over. Customer service reps, AI is taking that role. And there's a whole, I'll have to post it somewhere, or maybe we'll do a video and go through it. But there are a whole list of niches that they're predicting AI is going to do it. It's going to take over. And actually, I believe a lot of them, especially the ones like the admins and customer service, because Google has been working on a technology over the last couple of years that actually does a lot of the work for us. And they're not the only company. I wish this YouTube would allow me to share my screen while I was live, because I would show y'all some really cool stuff. But apparently it doesn't do that. So I'll have to create like a video and upload it so you can see it. But the administrative niche, the customer service niche, I would just kind of be strategic about it. At first I was going to say, like, don't do it, like just trying to save you. But that's not fair, right? I feel like I'm not going to say don't do it. What I would say is just be strategic about how you do it. Like if you're going to do administrative assistance, then you say, okay, for the first year or two, I'll start the admin side, and then I'll start building on another niche. So as admins are phasing out, I am still staying relevant and I still have a position within my niche market space. You can definitely allow admins to be your entryway in to the staffing space and get your name out there and different things like that, but be really strategic about like how you're going to transition into your next niche and so forth. So just be strategic about that and be careful around that. I wish it did it to me. Hasn't texted me to say where you at, so I'll keep going. She said, how do I start? So I told you I don't want to sell on this video, but go to staffingpreneursacademy.com if you're interested, and I can show you how to get started. It takes me about 7 weeks to help somebody launch their niche recruitment and staffing business, especially if they're working, if they're doing it virtually. If I'm with them in person, it takes about a week or two. Not just for the legalization, but to get together your strategies, your email automation, your ATS to build that out and get the automation together on the back end of that, making sure you know who your market is and flushing your niche market out, getting your avatar, your competitive. And now, like, it's so much involved with the setup. Most people actually just think it's legalizing and then going out and getting a client. And it's not. Like, most people don't have clients because they don't have strategies. Right. And, I just did a whole live class on that 2 Saturdays ago. So there I have everything literally laid out in a step-by-step process. You could take my class online or work with me one-on-one. I have one-on-one spot available right now until whenever. So just throwing that out there. But Tralisha, I wish you so much success. I know you're going to do a great job, but I really want you to think about your strategy around that. I always tell people, like, I wouldn't do healthcare and construction. Those are two totally different things, right? It's no way for them to really talk to each other in a very smart way, right? Or I wouldn't do like customer service reps and business analysts. Like, they're two totally different things. But I would do something like, I would think like, okay, so if based on my niche, I like to look for problems if I'm thinking about a niche, right? So like, for example, in the healthcare space, there's a problem where there are not enough nurse practitioners to go around to do health risk assessments. That's a problem, right? So then I'm looking for nurse practitioners. So if that was my problem that I'm solving, health risk assessments for what else do those health insurance companies need? Who else works with those nurse practitioners, or who's managing those nurse practitioners that are doing the health risk assessments? And so then I would make my niche health risk, NPs for health risk assessments and their managers, right? So now I'm still in the same bubble, but I'm doing two different types of roles. So I don't look at my niche as an industry. I look at my niche as a part of an industry. When I think of my niche, I'm thinking of a position or role type or type of roles. So like if you're in an IT and you look at a software development team, if you do a Google search right now, and I'm on I got screens everywhere here. But if you say like, what does a software development team look like, right? DEV, programmers, right? So they name all the titles that go in that team. So I would definitely, if I was placing software developers and I wanted to not, quote unquote, this is your words, not mine, not limit myself to one thing, then it may be, okay, I'm going to place software developers, maybe Java software developers with analysts and testers, because they're all sitting in the same department. And so if I call, they all have the same hiring manager. So if I call the CTO or the director of software development, then I could pitch the software developer, the analyst, or the tester, right? Or I could pitch filling the whole team if it's a new initiative. Or you see what I'm saying? You have more leverage. But if you go in and you're like, I place construction and I place healthcare, you have double work. That means that, you can do it, but that means you've got to flesh out a whole niche market for whatever type of role you're filling in the healthcare space. You've got to figure out what the problems are that the client is having and that your candidates are having. Build out your email campaigns around that. You've got to set your ATS to support those, the jargon and the fields that need to be focused on healthcare. It's like, you got to get it's a lot involved, the credentialing process, right? But then on the flip side, now you're also doing construction and you have totally different jargon that you have to set up on the back end of ATS, totally different email marketing campaigns, totally different. You see what I'm saying? They're so different. It's like it's going to be hard for you to manage that, right? I say focus on one thing. The reason why I tell people to start off with one role is because it's not to torture you. It's just an easy way in the door when you say, I only focus on filling these one things. You have to, they're going to just ask you to find other people, and your niche, your real niche, or your next niche will evolve organically. So it's really a strategic play to be a niche recruitment and staffing business. Most people want to have 50 different niches. It's harder to sell 50 different niches than it is to sell one position. I only place nurse practitioners that focus on this. I only place software developers that code in Python. I only place data scientists for the fintech industry. And that way you can start putting things out there and be strategic. But again, of course, be strategic. We talk a lot about this in our group coaching programs every week. We talk a lot about this in our group coaching programs. It's a big deal because that niche space, most people just don't understand how important it is and how much leverage it gives you as a staffing business. I hope that was helpful. Kiana said her niche is logistics and government contracting. That's really cool. Ramona, hey girl, how are you? Says, do you have a recommendation for workman's compensation for employees? Any general insurance recommendations? I'm 4 steps away from running my nursing agency. Yeah, there are a ton of, I don't have any off the top of my head, but there are a ton of agencies out there that have the workman's compensation. What I would do is I would look for workman's comp staffing, and healthcare. I would do that Google search. In the academy, we do have a list. I don't have that offhand, but we have a list of all the insurance, everything that you need, all the insurance companies and everything that's needed out there. Ramona, what ATS are you using? What ATS are you using? And while Ramona's answering that, that's for everybody. While you're here, can you type in the box what ATS you're using? And if you're not using an ATS, say none so I can know. I want to talk a little bit about that while you guys are answering this. I have had a number of people tell me over the last couple of years, I have you, and I'm here to tell you that you are absolutely tripping if you don't have your ATS in play. And if you don't, today is the day to go and get it. Let me explain something about your applicant tracking system. It is the most important piece of your entire business. You don't go into any restaurant that doesn't have a cash register. That is the most important part of the restaurant business, is taking the money so that they can take the orders, right? When you go into the restaurant, they put your order in the machine so that they can go and cook it up in the back. If they didn't put it on a machine, then they used to have it on paper, but it was so inefficient. So now it's more efficient by putting them on the machine, right? So you have to go into the back, right? The order goes to the back. Your ATS is your software. You cannot run a staffing business without an applicant tracking system and be serious about it. Do you understand what I'm saying? This is for everyone. You have to have an ATS for many different reasons. One, I'm going to tell you, this is the biggest reason for me. It's so many reasons, but the biggest reason for me is if you ever want to be able to step away from your desk, if you ever want to be able to step away from your desk, have a vacation, you need your ATS. Your ATS is what allows you to stay on the go. Okay. Your ATS is what allows you to take a vacation and be comfortable that your staff has everything under control and that you can still see from wherever you are. Your ATS is important because it keeps track of all of your interactions. Candidates lie. Clients lie. Not purposely sometimes, but sometimes purposefully. Your ATS tracks everything. Your ATS is important because you're not going to understand how much activity you need to generate in order to make money properly. And in order to sustain the money that you have or to increase the money that you have. Without your ATS, you won't be able to see that. Like your ATS has reporting. It keeps records. It tells you how much money you're going to make, how much money you're not going to make. It holds your candidates' information. It holds your clients' information. You have notes in there. It allows you to be strategic. More importantly, it has data, and data is worth more than technology, and technology is worth more than oil. If technology is worth more than oil and data is worth more than technology, do you understand that the real net worth of your niche recruitment and staffing business does not come from the placements that you make? It comes from the data in your ATS. No company is going to look at your staffing business and say, oh, she has 6,000 emails and 6,000 file folders. Her staffing business is worth me purchasing. No, they're going to be looking to go into your ATS for you to be able to pull reports to show how many people you have. It's your data in your ATS. You have to have an applicant tracking system in order to compete. And we're in a very competitive space right now. So the big question that everyone keeps asking is what ATS. Y'all know my favorite ATS is Crelate. I actually use Crelate on a daily basis. Literally, I use it on a daily basis. I also do all my training on the Crelate platform. So I do some, let me just see, I will put the link in here. I do some training on the Loxo platform, and applicant tracking system companies reach out to me all the time asking me to test their platforms. And I do. I accept every last one of them. And I have not found one that I love more than Crelate. I feel like Crelate is meant for staffing agencies because they hold both the sales and business development side and the recruiting side. That's both. And that's major. And they have like a client portal. So your client can log right into their portal. That's specific to them. They are starting to get into the email marketing. So you don't actually have to go out of Crelate to do your marketing, or at least not all of it. Your first round could definitely go through Crelate. But another thing that I love, if you're a big automation geek like I am, is that they have access to webhooks on the back end so that I can connect my Zapier, whatever they call it, to my Crelate. And I can connect my email campaign. So I use Active Campaign. I can connect Active Campaign. So I can set it up. I'm going to show you on during a video. It won't let me go live here. Maybe we should go live on Facebook. Maybe I should take this to Facebook because Facebook will allow me to share my screen. I only got a couple more minutes, but maybe I don't know when I'll do this. But with Crelate, the cool thing is that when you set up your activities on the back end of Crelate, you can set it up to say, okay, I want to do a LinkedIn connection, right? That's your activity. I set this customer or this client or this candidate a LinkedIn connection. You can press this button that says LinkedIn connection that you'll create. And what it'll do is that it will send out an email to them, right? You can have it so that it can automatically send out an email to them. So that's the kind of automation that Crelate will do. But on the flip side, let's say you have a lead magnet out on your website, or let's say you ran ads from Google or Facebook and you're inviting people to download your lead magnet. You want to be able to get all of your contacts from your Aweber or your MailChimp or your Active Campaign into your ATS. You want your ATS to be able to know that somebody came in through a lead magnet. Like you can have it set up. This is why I freaking love Crelate. You can have it set up to where every time somebody puts their email address or what have you into Crelate, and then it automatically tags it in Crelate and starts the activity process. So it's like really, 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 really cool. I love the fact that they're constantly listening and they're constantly hearing our problems and building around that. You can also find emails with, they're connected to an email service that's outside of Dice Monster and all of them. And you can download emails right from within Crelate. I think it's like $50 for 50 resumes, and then it gets cheaper as you go along. So that's really, really cool. And I really love Crelate. And like I said, I just use it. I love Loxo too, though. I use Loxo a lot. And they're actually growing and expanding. Somebody asked me the other day, Dee, why don't you use some of the other applicant tracking systems with your training? I only just use applicant tracking systems that I feel like would actually be beneficial for a small to mid-sized staffing agency. And that's what most of my clientele is from startup to 10 million a year. And it's at least my staffingpreneurs are. When I get to corporate organizations, I deal with staffing agencies from all sizes, but my staffingpreneurs are typically 0 to 10 million. So Crelate is my ATS, and I actually did a whole training on this a couple of weeks ago. I haven't put it up live yet because after I do the lives, we actually create more content from that live to add to your portal. It should be up this week though. And when it does, I'll do a live video. I'll show y'all what I'm doing on the inside and then give you all an opportunity to go in and sign up. If you guys are interested in the sales and business, I ended up selling, like I said, I wasn't. If you're interested in the sales and business development training I just did last week, I think it was like how to generate leads for your niche recruitment and staffing business. We did 3, 6, 9, and then I did 2 or 3 bonus strategies on how to generate leads for your business. You will absolutely love this. I have it right now for $197 on sale. It's going to go up to $499 only because we took the live training and converted it to an ebook, and I'm not done converting it yet. So I'm getting y'all NY, and I still have a couple more things I want to add to the portal. But we actually have sales calls that goes with that training. We're doing 2 starting this week. We canceled last week because everything was crazy. But this week we have 2, so you can get some support for a couple of weeks during this class as well. So if you give me 1 sec, definitely enjoy that. And then I'll answer 2 more questions. So if you have any more questions, Andrew, I am not playing the keys. Y'all know I produce music. And as you can see, my other monitor is not here. And that's because it's in storage in Los Angeles. Crazy, right? So for you all that don't know, my daughter is a new driver. Y'all grown up with Lyric now. So you all know she'll be 17 in May. She's naturally doing the teenage thing where she's learning how to drive, right? So we're in LA. I had a meeting. I'm like, hey, damn, she crashed my Benz. So my car is in LA still being fixed along with the half of my life. Because the rental car that they gave me was supposed to be a luxury car. It's not. They gave me a Mini Cooper, but they said it is because it's a German car or whatever. So it didn't fit everything I had in my G-Class. So I had to downsize, put things in storage. I drove back here. You're in LA? Girl, I've been out on the West. I was in LA. I was in San Fran. I was in Oakland. I was in Sacramento. I love the Bay Area. Shout out to everyone in Oakland and San Francisco. I definitely feel like in another life that would be my home. I definitely will probably go back to the Bay Area to live for about 3 to 6 months. I have not stopped thinking about it. I absolutely love it. Shout out to Sacramento. What a beautiful city you all have. I was on the outskirts of Sacramento, about 30 minutes away with all. My daughter was like, you would end up in where all the rich people are, Mama. That's where you would stop at. So I had a lot of fun. Saw a lot of beautiful homes out there. It's just so, so, so beautiful. And then, of course, I just love LA. So I'm being slow. Hold on 1 second. I want to get you guys this link so that you can get into there. I'll answer 2 more questions. Rockland. That's in California, I'm sure. Okay. Any more questions? How much the course costs? Oh, I told you, $197. Currently working with someone for my website for what you consider an ATS. No. Ramon, no. Your ATS should not be a part of your website the way you're thinking. I hope Ramona is still on here. So for my website, for what you consider, no. An ATS is separate than your website. Okay, so I don't know what ATS your web guy, but if he's just putting a form on there, that is not acceptable. If you have a website and you only have a form to receive resumes, not acceptable. Every applicant tracking system comes with a job portal, and your job portal is attached to the back end of your applicant tracking system. Your job portal should be integrated into your website as either an iframe or it should be integrated on your website as a click to open in a new page. When you post jobs on the back end of your applicant tracking system, they will show up on that career portal on your website. When someone applies, their resume and information goes into the back end of your ATS, and that's where you're doing all your business every day. So as a staffingpreneur, when I wake up in the morning, the very first thing I do is open my applicant tracking system. Before I open my phone or check my voicemail, my emails, I start off opening. If I'm starting business or I'm opening my business in the morning, you go in, the first thing you do is log into your ATS, see who's applied, see if anything is there, what's on your agenda for today. I swear I'm going to do a live video and show you guys this, so just to kind of get you ready, because a lot of you don't understand the importance of the technology, but it's almost also one of the number one reasons why companies don't want to work with small agencies, because they don't have any organization, and that's because they don't have any just like those things. I love you, Deborah. Mwah! One of my staffingpreneurs is sending me love messages. I love it. Deborah, I love you so much. I'm so glad you're watching. I'm in cyber, AI, data privacy, sent out 400 emails. No, okay. I'm not going to do a whole coaching program, but I want to talk to you. Owie, I want to talk to you. Okay. Owie. Okay. I use Create. Thanks, Kiana. You're correct. We started last week. AD, should your ATS send you an email notification that you have applications? It should, if you have that set up on the back end of your ATS. Yes, it should. Right. Okay, so 100 emails per day, I would send 140 to 240 emails per day. And I would say, are those emails in an automated sequence? So that's my second thing. Are they in an automated sequence? And then the third thing is, what are you saying to them in that sequence? How long is your sequence, and what are you saying to them? Because if you're not following up, it doesn't make sense to send out the 400 emails a day. Everything in this business is about the follow-up. It's fortune in the follow-up. Let me hear you say it. It's fortune in the follow-up. It's fortune in the follow-up. Everything is in the follow-up. So if you're not following up, then it's not going to work. If you're not following up, it's not going to work. You got to follow up, right? So 100 emails. Okay. So how often? Okay. So you should be following up every week. So you should have at least a 3 to 4 week sequence. And then your second batch, then your third batch, then your fourth batch. Then you go again. You can only send a certain amount of emails per day according to Google. So just okay. So your niche is law firms. Yeah, y'all are all over it today. I love it. Y'all got me so fired up over it. Oh my gosh. Okay, sorry. Okay, so somebody is on top of it. Okay. They know what they're doing. I love it. I love it. Awesome. All right. I think that's it for us. That's not enough. Send thousands until you get leads. Kiona is hilarious, but she's right. She's right. She's right. You got to send, I don't say thousands, but you've got to be aggressive. And I'm going to tell you, it's 3 ways to generate leads in 2020. Phone, email, in person. And right now we're going through social distancing. So in person looks like this, right? So it's 3 ways. And there are hundreds of them. So there's not just one strategy that works. You have to pick one strategy. I say 2 for each. Right? 2 to 3 for each, 1 for the phone, 1 for email, 1 for online, and then implement. But you got to do that in order for you to see what works, and you got to be consistent. And you can't say, I tried it and it didn't work after a week or 2. You have to give it at least like 3 months so that you can see whether it's working or not, but analyzing every step of the way, like looking to see what needs to be, helped every step of the way, right? What needs to be changed. So just keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. Let's see. Ronnie, Bobby, Ricky, and Mike. Just Ronnie today. Thank God. All right. fortunate about it. I read an article earlier about networking while we're quarantined and social distancing. I try to tell you, like, right, hard for me to get in the way I want, but I've like moved it around since I've been on the West Coast. I now have a little bit of time in the morning before I start my sales and business development to hang out with you all online on my Facebook, my LinkedIn, my YouTube, and stuff like that. I started y'all 10K video, start a niche recruitment and staffing business. So I'm going to focus each day on like one step or a step that you want to take or what you want to focus on during that week. When you're starting the business. And so we're celebrating 10,000 subscribers. I'm going to take a course. I would love for my channel to be 20,000. Let's see what we can do. The more likes y'all give me though, I ain't gonna lie. When I see those likes and those comments, I get fired up. I think about you at night and I wake up in the next morning to be ready to go. So when y'all be hitting those likes, I'm like, okay, they like it. Let me help. But when I don't see your likes, I'm like, they don't like my information. So why am I creating videos? So keep liking, subscribing. You get me fired up, and keep commenting. If I put a video out there, honestly, I'm doing it because I really feel like it'll help you all. And I got to tell y'all really quick this, because I was thinking the other day that maybe I should just kind of just share some of the things that I've been doing. Since y'all, I haven't really been live. I have 1,428 videos in the private mode of actually on this YouTube channel. So I have a videographer. I was thinking about having him go in and just kind of cutting some of the things from things that I feel like might be really helpful for you all, and editing them and then just like posting them up so you guys can have some short stuff. So we're going to do some really cool stuff with the channel, especially since things are a little crazy, but y'all know President said he's lifting everything, which means we're about to get back to our economy. You don't really get to appreciate the economy until it crashes, right? So now it has crashed, or we're semi-crash. I don't know if this recession they're talking about is actually going to even happen at this point. This might have been the mini recession we were going to go through. And now it's just time to get things in order and to just get things fired up. So I love my staffingpreneurs, each and every one of you. Please like this video, share this. I think that's fear. I think it's easy to sell people on fear. Did you just watch the president go live a minute ago? He just went live at 6 o'clock. And I am not a fan of politics. I don't believe most things that politicians say. However, I do believe that we won't go through a depression. I believe that we're going through just a very mild setback. And if you know that with every setback, it's just a setup for something greater. And so I think that what has happened is just on a very basic level. I just feel like the earth had a cold, period. Earth had a cold, and everything else is, everything. Because if you notice all the smog and stuff is kind of gone down, and, people being in their homes is just kind of giving the earth an opportunity to heal. So let's just allow the earth to do that, and then to come back and maybe do things a little bit differently so that she doesn't get so sick and make us sick, right? So I think by the end of April, I agree, we're going to do a live boot camp. We'll be in Detroit, Michigan. Hopefully I can get Google. If you are watching, I need a facility in LA for my boot camp. Please call me 866-432-8801. I want to do one in LA at the Google facility. So if anybody knows anybody, we need a facility in LA. So if you all know somebody in LA or know of a facility, please email me at dwilliams, I think it's dwilliams at staffingpreneursacademy.com, or call my office 866-432-8801. We need a venue for LA. We have an East Coast venue, which is Detroit. And then I would love to do one in Dallas. So if you all know of any venues in Dallas, please hit me up or put it under this video. I would love for us to go live in our boot camps by June. So I would like to do maybe one in June, one July, one in August on the East Coast, Midwest, and the West Coast. So I will not be in Sacramento. I'll be in LA. So everybody on the West Coast will have to meet in LA. If you're on the East Coast, you'll have to meet me in Detroit. If you're in the Midwest, you'll meet me in Dallas. We're probably going to do a 3-day event split up into 2 sections. One for startups and one for people who want to scale, because those are 2 totally different trainings and 2 totally different conversations. We did this about 2 years ago, and it was a complete success. In New Orleans, we did it. We did it in DC. We did it in California, Ontario, California. We did it in Houston, Texas, and in Dallas. So we did it a couple of years ago, and it was great. You know, a couple of those people now are doing millions in their business. So awesomeness. So we will definitely do that again this year. Please assist me if you guys have any. If you know anybody for venues, I want to go live, but we're going to see me start putting stuff up. You can get on the waiting list. You can put your down payment down. You're going to see a lot of people starting to advertise their live events again. So be prepared. My events are nothing like you've ever. We are very hands-on. Y'all see how I am online. I'm even more intense in person. So we're super hands-on. My classes are always very small so that I can work with you individually in person. I think the largest my class is ever 25 people, because I want to be able to work with you one-on-one. I want to be able to walk around, sit next to you, look at what you're writing, look at what you're building. What are you saying? Not just call on your hand in the class. You'll also make amazing friends. Like everybody in my community, I feel like are like really good friends. We've all known each other now for a long time. Some of the staffingpreneurs have actually become my friends. Where we call each other, check on each other, everything okay? You know, so we have a really good community. You feel my personality, my community is the same way. Kiana, I got to go to your event. What's your event on? What you doing? All right. Y'all don't be worried about what's going on. I know it's weird, but like, I promise you, this is going to blow over and we are all going to end up on top. Like this video, subscribe to my channel if you haven't. Be prepared. I'm still kind of getting to this new Facebook kind of structure. So I'm going to try to figure out how I can tell you all when I'm going live first. I don't know how to do that just yet. I think I have to put like the schedule button or something, but I want you to know when I'm going to go live. So I definitely want to do that for you all. And we're going to have a lot of fun over the next couple of weeks here on YouTube. So make sure that you keep that notification on, because I could just do a pop-up just to tell you something really amazing. I love y'all. I will see y'all in tomorrow, or maybe tonight if y'all lucky. I see y'all tonight. Y'all have a great night. Be safe, stay vigilant, do amazing. I love that. What a great life.